Hi, James. How are you
Hi
today?
Sue, how are you?
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for joining me. Hey, always.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm always looking for an excuse to sit. I went out for a run this morning. It's beautiful and sunny here in Barna today. So I went for a run, trying to get back into running, and it just makes you feel magical.
Cool.
There's
Yeah, it's
actually a
not
bit
so.
of heat. How's it there in Cork?
Yeah, it's sunny. It's sunny. It's there's a chill in the wind, but it's sunny. It's dry, so it's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me introduce you. This
Okay.
is my lovely business partner for training, James White, aka Jimmy, to those in Cork who know him well. James, you can tell us a bit more about yourself.
Um. Yeah. Well, as Sue said, I'm James White, and we're business partners and colleagues, and friends. And I suppose I'm in my 50s, and for the first, I suppose, up till I was in my very early 40s, I was in the corporate world for many, many years. Um, and then found mindfulness. And here I am.
You found mindfulness.
Yeah.
Tell us, James, how you found mindfulness. Would you like to tell us?
So I suppose from the perspective of where I was in the corporate world. And for the last 2 years of my corporate world work, I suppose, I was looking out my office window every morning at about 7:15, and sort of had this question in my mind, which was, um, what's this all about, as in
Mm,
life? I had sort of reached the pinnacle of where I could go in the business I was in. Money wasn't an issue. Holidays weren't an issue. All that type of stuff that you're told that you need to achieve as you grow up in life. That you have to, get a great job, meet a perfect partner, all that type of stuff.
mm, mm.
But I had quite a colourful life in those corporate world years. Well, we won't go into that in too much detail. And look, I faced challenges and situations, and probably suffered. I was never diagnosed with, say, depression or anxiety, but definitely
Mm.
suffered with them.
Yeah.
And decided to look into what was happening in my head, in my brain. What was the brain? What was all going on in my brain? Because I had that sort of question: was it must be me? There must be something wrong with me.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
not
know the
happy.
feeling.
I'm not happy, so there must be something wrong with me. So I started studying psychotherapy and hypnotherapy, and that gave me an insight into our mind, or into my mind a little bit.
Mm.
And I came across mindfulness as one module. It was just one module on the course.
Yeah.
Um, and it intrigued me because it sort of made sense to me more than what I was studying. And well, not that more than what I was studying, because we were doing psychological stuff and looking at fraud and all that type of stuff. But I think what it did was it sort of put the whole lot together and made it make sense for
Mm-hmm.
me. So
Yeah.
then I started researching into it, did more training into it, and hence here I am now. I teach with yourself and on my own other people to try and understand what mindfulness is, and to try and get rid of the misconceptions of it, and to show them that, look, it isn't about necessarily being religious or spiritual. It's about understanding self. It's about self-awareness, really,
Yeah.
in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you found it had quite a transformative effect on you personally?
Oh,
And
totally. Sorry, go on.
no, go on, go further.
Yeah, definitely. I suppose if you were to think about, say, sometimes we talk about where's our baseline on a day-to-day basis. When I was in the corporate world, and even my baseline was probably up here, yeah, which meant that to push me over into an anger or frustration or that type of mode where I'd instantly react to something, it didn't
Mm,
take a lot to put me over to actually make
mm,
me, go into those emotional controls that take us over, and how we respond to them in negative ways.
mm.
And I would say, like, over the period of time from starting, that started to lower, you know. So I will probably say that it's actually quite low. My family may not, but I would say it's quite low now,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean that I don't react to stuff. I do react to stuff, but not as often as I did previously.
Yeah. And for that huge shift to happen, how long would you say that took you? And was that from practicing daily, or is that just over time you noticed how things had shifted for you?
Like to give you an honest answer, it's a daily thing. Every single day you're working on it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think from it to go from where it was like 60 or 70% up here, it probably took a transition of maybe, a couple of years. But
Yeah.
each day was going down just
Mm.
very slowly. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
And I suppose in essence, what does mindfulness do for you? It sort of makes you understand yourself more, that you get used to what's triggering you, how you're reacting to it, and maybe making some changes in that moment that you have, that space in between the initial trigger and reaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, yeah. So I guess from very early on, then you could see that, this actually is working, and that provokes, if you like, you to continue. You could see the benefits from very early on.
Yeah, 100%. Because I think one thing that I probably learned at a very early stage of looking into mindfulness and having a mindfulness practice was that I needed to know about me. I needed to know about what was going on for me in various different situations and challenges, and taking notice of how I reacted to them, and then how did that affect me? How was I affected by that reaction?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Would you say then that was like life for people, if we're talking about the neurological effects? So would you say over your life to that point, um, life made you like more, say, um, what's the word? React more, or do you think it's more inbuilt in, if it's inbuilt in someone's personality and their neurological genetic makeup? Um, you know,
So I suppose from all my research and learnings and trainings and stuff, what I've begun to understand is we're not born like that. So you don't come out of the womb like that with that reactive mode.
okay.
And what happens is that there's a transition as you grow up, and all the influences from, your parents, grandparents, external people. So not yourself, because you're never taught, or you're never told about look inside you and figure out what's going on for you. It's always about this is how you should do, this is what you should do, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
So I think you in science, what they say is it's our default mode, or our default network is to instantly react with no thinking. It's instant, and it's really apparent now, I suppose, in 2020, where we would have quite a lot of young people who are really, really struggling with their various different things,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have an answer. And the answers that I got as a kid aren't working for them,
Mm-hmm.
because they're actually rebelling against them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas
Mm-hmm.
when I was a child, you just did what you're told, or you
Yeah.
actually got battered. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got you got into trouble. Whereas now everybody has an inquiring mind, which is absolutely amazing, and it's
Yeah.
wonderful, and there's so many things happening because of it. But I think when they're faced with the challenges that we would have been, or I would have been faced on a daily basis, they don't have an answer, because the old way of, oh, build a bridge, get over it, life is tough, cop yourself on, all that type of stuff, that doesn't work anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because
Mm.
they don't know why, and they're not going to take that that put an old head on young shoulders type of thing. It isn't working. So I think for me, I suppose the way of looking at it is that if you can understand how your mind works and why it does what it does, and
Mm-hmm.
going back to the question that you asked, which was, are we built this way? We're not built this way. We're actually habitually conditioned this way
Okay.
because of everything that surrounds us and affects us. And it has lots to do with, we've lots of internal systems. If you look at, say, the central nervous system, and I don't want to get too technical on it, with the neuroscience, because neuroscience is proving all these things, or it's providing a lot of evidence to show that different parts of our brain are reacting in certain situations when we feel under threat or afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at anxiety, it's fear-based control.
Yeah.
It means that you don't actually realize that when you're anxious, you're afraid of something, But that's what it is, okay?
Yeah.
And what happens is you have two systems. You have the parasympathetic system and you have the sympathetic system. When we're in what's called fight, flight, or freeze mode, which is where our mind subconsciously thinks that we're under threat, our sympathetic nervous system kicks in. And what that does is it means that while our body is in this stress or anxious reaction, it's not sending the messages to the correct parts of our bodies to keep us calm and balanced and okay. It's sending, say, the blood to all of our extremities. It's sending them to, like, the blood is pumping towards your feet, towards your hands, because it's getting ready to fight or flight. It's taking away, say, the oxygen from going to your brain to allow you to cognitively think about things in a logical manner. It's taking away the digestion system. It's shutting that down, and it's moving all that energy to the rest of your body where it needs it in this fight, flight, or freeze. So your body becomes unbalanced. And the problem with that is that from a physiological point of view, we're not only affecting ourselves here in our brain and in our mind and going away with these thousands of thoughts of, oh my God, what we're going to do, we're also affecting ourselves physically. So, you know, it's affecting our organs, because though the central nervous system is connected to, you know, your liver, your spleen, your heart, it's connected to all these important organs, you know. And when it goes into that fight, flight, or freeze mode, those organs aren't getting what they need to get to function normally.
Yeah.
Because you're in that fight, flight, or freeze mode. So mindfulness and understanding what's happening in here, having sort of emotional intelligence about who I am, what I'm about, what triggers me, how I react normally, it gives you, mindfulness gives you an understanding of all of that stuff, and it allows you to inquire into it. Just look into it and understand that, okay, I don't have to instantly react in these situations. I can sort of, you know, just realize, okay, this is how I'm feeling, or this is what I'm feeling or experiencing right now, but I don't have to react to that. You know, I can actually let it.
So it's mindfulness then is giving them the tools of and the techniques of what to do with it all.
So some mindful practices, they would be known as tools and techniques. I suppose what I would probably point out is that mindfulness isn't just tools and techniques. You know, some people are sort of promoting it is, oh, use these mindfulness tools, use these mindfulness techniques, they're going to enhance your life or whatever like that. And the problem with that is this is not like an exercise, like a maths exercise or a homework exercise. This is something that you embody throughout your day constantly. So when people say, and I laugh sometimes because it's all how the media are taking on this word now in a big way, let's be mindful. Okay. But they don't realize what that means. Do you know what I mean? They don't actually realize what being mindful means. And then people are saying, oh, I need to be mindful of what I say here, or I need to be mindful of what I do here, which is fine, it's okay. But there's a deeper meaning to that word. It's about, you know, being aware of you as a person, how you're feeling, what you're experiencing, how that impacts you, and how that impacts other people. And understanding that other people are just as human as you and me are, and they have challenges they face on a daily basis, and they may be reacting in a negative way or whatever, and understanding that, well, that's okay for them. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're going through at this moment. I can't change what they're doing, but I can change how I allow it to affect me. And I can show them, say, compassion and understanding. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than hatred and vengeance or anger. Do you know what I mean?
So it starts with you.
100%.
Yeah.
It starts with you.
This is probably why I love working with you, James, because you emanate what I have learned and what I love about mindfulness. So I'm very lucky to have met you. And at the moment you're studying further, right?
Yeah, so that's what I was doing. If I'm looking down, I'm probably being distracted, which I shouldn't be. I should be more mindful.
Put the book
Um,
away.
Put the book away, close the book. So I'm currently studying. I just finished my master's in psychotherapy and hypnotherapy anyway last year, and I took on another course which is called Search Inside Yourself, which is a program that was developed originally in Google by somebody who worked with Google. It's not Google's course. But this guy called Meg Chang initially wrote a book called Search Inside Yourself, which I think is a great read for anybody anyway, because it covers mindfulness practices and mindfulness tools and techniques and stuff, and mindfulness understanding. But they take it to another level, which is they bring in the emotional intelligence of it, and how, because again, with mindfulness, there can be this mystique about it, or as I said before, religious aspect of it or spiritual aspect of it. And this sort of it demystifies it a little bit, which means what I mean by that is some logical people can't understand or take mindfulness because of maybe their perception or maybe the way they've been taught or experienced it or something. So this course, Search Inside Yourself, brings it to a much more logical level for everybody, and it includes your emotional intelligence, which then means it helps with your self-confidence. It helps with your, obviously builds on your self-awareness and self-understanding. It helps with leadership. It helps with all of those things that, anybody who's anxious or has anxiety, or anybody who's, say, stressed out of their mind all the time, even people say with depression, it helps lift yourself. It helps you lift yourself because it builds on the practices and understanding of mindfulness, which is self-awareness, self-compassion, self-love, and it goes into realms of self-management and all that type of stuff. So it's a 10-month program, and I'm sort of halfway through it now at the moment. So
wow, it sounds really, really interesting, and a lovely step on from what you've already studied.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's basically people, knowing that those tools are inside themselves, and that if they build on all of those, that they can find what they need within.
Yeah, and I think it does it on a foundation level. So the foundation level of it is all mindfulness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's all about mindfulness practices and techniques and stuff that you use, which builds your awareness of self, and then allows you to expand it into the realms of difficult conversations and stuff like that.
Great. Will you be just incorporating this into your own work, or do you plan to diversify as well? Because it sounds like it's really powerful work that a lot of people could benefit from outside of your personal clinic.
Yeah. So currently what I do is I do one-to-ones with psychotherapy and hypnotherapy and counseling. So I'll keep doing that. Obviously then I have the mindfulness end of it and do mindfulness retreats and stuff like that with yourself and other people and myself and whatever. So I'll continue doing that, and we've developed a couple of programs together which we'll be putting out there together and stuff. So I will still have that mindfulness aspect of it. This course is sort of standalone, but I will encompass some of my learnings from it into the mindfulness stuff that we do as well, because I think it's very relevant.
Totally relevant. Yeah, that's right. I look forward to that.
Yeah.
I won't be able to get a word in, James, because you'll be so knowledgeable, which is amazing. That's what I love. I learned so much from you and the other people I've been speaking to. I know you finally got to watch some of the videos.
Yeah, they were cool. Yeah, I loved them.
Yeah, and everybody has their own individual insights and perspective and teachings that is so valuable for us all to share. And and to connect and collaborate, and to know what each other does.
But I think that we're always constantly learning, and I suppose when I made the connection with you, it was like, wow, here's another person who is on the same sort of frequency as I am and has the same sort of ambitions and goals and motivations that I have. Do you know what I mean? So I think we learn off each other, and it isn't that. I hope you don't think I talk all the time.
I have to put up my hand. I'm only joking. I'm always trying to pull your leg. No. I absolutely love working with you, and I'm very excited for our first retreat in October.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
going to be
sure,
exciting.
I know we'll have many more because as we grow,
Yeah.
and we also have workshops planned, some really exciting things. And you've got so much to offer. So I'm really excited about doing those with you. And what I also love is that male-female aspect, when we do those workshops and trainings, that there's great balance there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I always come away feeling amazing, having spoken to you, and so uplifted. It just feels great. And I really thank you for that. So I'm really glad we did find each other, and I'm so excited about what's going forward. And you have another retreat you're holding in Cork this weekend.
Um, and just to reiterate what you said there, like I appreciate it too when I'm with you, because I think what you find is that in your day to day life, people can look at, say, someone like me and go, "Oh, you know, he's one of those mindfulness heads or whatever." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I think sometimes it's nice to have that connection as a group, you know,
yeah,
with yourself and the other people that are there,
yeah,
because if you feed off each other, do you know what I mean? That is what
mm,
mindfulness is about. I mean, I
yeah,
think the Dalai Lama is quoted as saying, you know, if every 8-year-old was taught how to meditate, it would change the world. And I think what people don't understand about that is you have this connection and understanding and awareness of yourself and all of these other people who are in the room on the retreat with you or whatever, that there is that connection,
mm,
there is that understanding. The human experience becomes what it used to be back in the caveman days, do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Where it's all about, you know, you need food and shelter, you need companionship, which is other people like-minded, do you know what I mean? That
mm,
share the same values of you and understand, you
mm,
know, it doesn't mean that you don't get angry and we're all living on unicorns and rainbows and stuff like that. We're just able to deal and manage our challenges in a much
yeah,
more effective way for us and the other people around us.
yeah. Because we've learned to,
Absolutely.
and we continue to learn. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
yeah,
yeah,
so
so the retreat this week. So we're heading off on Friday afternoon, down to Donchabera, which is a Buddhist retreat centre down in West Cork. And I volunteer for a cancer care centre called the Cork Cancer Care Centre in Cork here. And what we do is we take some of the people who come into the centre, we take them away for a weekend, and it's basically escape the day to day hustle and
mm,
bustle of what's going on. It's sort of a little bit of a digital detox because there's hardly any service down there, so it's hard to get on
yeah.
the internet,
Well, that's
um,
nice.
which is
Yeah.
good. And we do meditation, and we do like this time we have a holistic massage therapist coming down, so there'll be mini treatments of holistic massage and stuff like that as well. And it's just Friday evening, all day Saturday, and Sunday afternoon, and there's a couple of us staying over Sunday night as well till Monday.
Mm,
Um, and we'll be doing and learning some of the stuff that I've learned now in the last 5 or 6
yeah.
months and
Yeah.
incorporating some of that into it.
Mm,
But it's a nice breakaway, yeah. Yeah, so looking
yeah.
forward to it.
Have you got one or two places left on that in case there's anybody in Ireland who would
Yeah,
like
there
to?
is currently I think there's 3 spaces available.
So it's not just for cancer patients; it's for others
No,
who
there's
want
a
to
couple
go.
of other
It's
people. It would be people who would, you know, volunteer in the centre or
yeah,
help out in the centre or their friends and family or whatever like that. It's open to anybody. Normally it's booked out, and it
yeah,
was booked out, but just due
yeah.
to some stuff that's happened for people, different situations, there's actually 3 places available. But it's usually booked out. There's never a
Yeah.
place ever available, you know.
Is that held annually, James?
So we hold one once a year. It's
Mm,
done once a year, and again, as I said to you, it's always booked out, so we don't advertise it, you know.
yeah.
But
And
obviously,
I know you said that's a beautiful venue. I'd love to get down to
oh,
it.
it's an amazing space. It's an amazing space, and you know, yes, it is a Buddhist retreat center. However, we do our own thing. You can go,
Secular.
yeah.
Mm,
So we do our own thing. We've a whole sort of they've a lovely retreat center there with like 7 bedrooms, twin beds sharing, full access to the kitchen. There'll be nobody else in our part of the center.
mm,
It's just
mm,
us.
mm.
Um, a magical meditation room which overlooks the sea. Um, and then they have another meditation room which they will use. And we can also go to the Buddhist meditation if we wish.
Oh,
We can take
lovely.
part if you want to. But so
Mm.
it isn't, we're not going down now to be all Buddhists, you know what I mean? We're
Yeah,
doing our own thing separately. But
yeah.
we will encompass them if people want to too. Like,
Yeah. So you'll post some pictures and whatever on mindfulnessschoolsireland.com
Absolutely,
if
yeah.
people would like to see or benefit from, maybe you can do a meditation for us or something. Anyway,
Yeah,
just a
yeah,
little
yeah.
snippet, so we can all be part of it. And yeah, that's what I love about the retreats and the day retreat, like what we're doing. Just, to come back to that, is what I love about that is it's not all technology. Actually, you get
Yeah.
away from it. When I'm doing my workshops now and my drop-in classes, I actually love that I have no equipment. I have no stuff. It's just us. It's just people authentically connecting to support and grow together. Because, it just becomes, for me, it becomes a stress. I know in the teacher training, obviously, we have PowerPoint and
Manuals and
that,
stuff, yeah.
but I just love that space where you can just be, where you're not having to think of all this stuff and depend on technology and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
really, it's a real, really gets you that headspace and that access that inner calm. So that must be lovely to get,
Yeah, I
get to
love it.
that space. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What else do I want to ask you? For people with, say, anxiety, I've just got my online course
Mm-hmm.
out, my little course, which you also thought was okay, right?
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. I think it's really, really good.
Thanks,
Really
James.
good. Yeah.
Thanks. But what I was going to say is, for people with anxiety, what I've also asked everybody this, and I know personally I've asked you, but what would your go-to, or what would you advise? Say people say, look, try this. This has worked for me, or what you would advise your patients, or your clients in your psychotherapy and that.
Um. So. hmm.
Have you struggled with anxiety at all yourself, James?
Oh, I still do. I still have bouts of it, and
So
especially
what?
when we're going to
Yeah,
teach groups of people,
yeah,
that's where my anxiety is, being front and center. I don't even. I'm not too bad today. I'm quite comfortable on this today, but I was
yeah,
probably building up to it, going, oh,
yeah.
am I going to be front and center? I don't want to be. Um.
No,
So
yeah.
sorry. um. So I still do struggle with it. So when I'm teaching groups of people, and even say going down to now, I'm preparing to go down for Friday. So
Yes.
even when I arrive on Friday, I'll be a little bit anxious, and it'll be all those questions. Why will people listen to me? What am I even doing here? Am I fraud? Am I fake? And all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? All those thoughts. I shouldn't be here. So what I normally do is I can actually use my breathing now quite comfortably to be able to acknowledge that the anxiety is there, because I'm not pushing it away. So
Yeah.
I suppose one of my biggest tips would be, don't push it away.
Okay.
Don't avoid it. Don't don't you know bury it
It,
down and try and
ignore it.
try and ignore that it's there, because it's there,
Yeah.
and it's
Yes.
there for a reason. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose the first thing would be aware that it's there, and be okay that it's okay to be anxious. Yeah, have
Mm-hmm.
that sort of cognitive talk to yourself. Okay, I'm anxious, and it's okay to be anxious, and then maybe inquire about, well, what is it I'm anxious about? Do I think? Can I? You know? Problem is that generally when we get into the anxiety, or when we get into any emotion, when we're in it, so when it's taken over,
Yeah.
we have like thousands of thoughts about
Mm-hmm.
what it is. Do you know what I mean? Most of them probably are generally self-reflected. So we're self-sabotaging ourselves, which is, we're not good enough, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not able to do this, I'm a failure, all of those negative thoughts that you have with it. Life is unfair, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think if you're in it and it's taken over, you need to go through the experience. And then when you come back down, now do something about it. But if you can catch it when it's arising, and say, oh, here it is,
Yeah.
here's the anxiety,
Yeah.
and look at it from this point of view. Our body is giving us signals. That's
Mm-hmm.
what emotions are. They're signals. It's like a computer giving us data. So
Okay.
your body is like a computer. It's giving you this data. It's giving you this information, which is telling you, okay, something's out of balance here. Something isn't right. And
Mm-hmm.
you have a moment, a very quick could be a split second, or it could be a few moments, or it could be a few minutes, or whatever. But you'll have a space in between it initially rising and taking over your body to it actually exploding.
Yeah.
And it's in that space where you can actually say, well, okay, oh yeah, this is what it is. I always have it. I know I have it. I don't need you to let take over in this moment. Do you know what I mean? I don't need it now to take over me, but I do accept it's there. And it's okay. I'm okay. Look at it from a cognitive point of view. Look around you. Is your life in threat?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And okay, I'm not in threat. It's okay. And you know, whatever the anxiousness is about, if it's about public speaking, it's quite it would be a bit like quite a few people who public speak that have anxiety. Like I'm saying, it was my biggest one, and it's not that it's gone away, but I more manage it now. So, and it's taking a step back to go, okay, let's have a couple of deep breaths in, and again, going back to say the neuroscience and the physiological side, because people get annoyed breathing. It's always about breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
The reason it's about breathing is because there's a physiological reaction if you do it properly. Again, if you can take a deep breath in, hold it for a couple of seconds, and a deep breath out longer than what you breathe it in for, it's been proven by Dr. Stephen Porges that the vagus nerve, which is part of the central nervous system, it starts getting the parasympathetic nervous system back into working order again. It allows the heart rate to start beating a little bit slower. It allows the blood flow to go back to normal rates. It allows the digestive system and all the systems around your guts and stuff and to start coming back into what should be normal. So I suppose generally, if the parasympathetic system is in play where the way it should be, the scientists sort of call it the rest and digest mode, which is where we're calm, we're comfortable, and everything's okay. Yeah. Whereas when the other system is in play and we're in fight, flight, or freeze, we're anxious and we're under threat, or we feel under threat, then we're totally out of balance. Nothing's working in sync. Our thoughts are going 100 miles an hour, and we're going with the thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I do know what you mean. I've lived it, and I know. Like, I mean, you can look at all the research, but what I find is with mindfulness, it's really experiential. That I know now because I've taught myself and I've practiced so much that you know, you can read a book on mindfulness, but you have to do it to realize. And I know when I get anxious, and I would still get anxious at certain things, but not at half the things I used to. I've really overcome that mindset and challenged it, and you know, broken it down. But clearly, like if I'm challenging myself with public speaking. It's all like the mindset, challenging the thoughts, but I can feel physically when it's arising, and when I do that mindful deep breathing, you can actually feel it. You know, you don't. The only way is to try it, and the more you try it, the more you'll see for yourself, and it works.
And I think it's important to for people to recognize that mindfulness is being backed by science and research, and there's evidence providing how there's a benefit to doing this. Do you know what I mean? And to understanding it, and you know, some people come to, because I also do a meditation class once a month in the Cork Cancer Care Centre for drop-in and stuff, and some people come in and, you know, the first thing I say to them is, we're going to do a meditation in a few moments, and you're going to think. And they're looking at me going, huh? I don't want to think. You can't stop thinking. The mind is created to have thoughts.
Yeah.
The difference between consciously what we're doing right here, right now, as we're talking to one another, and meditating is, our focus is not on our thinking. Our focus is on whatever the meditation is about.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that we're avoiding our thoughts or avoiding our worries or avoiding our stresses. It means we're not allowing them to overtake us into an emotional reaction where we're out of kilter, where we're stressed out of our mind, or we're anxious out of our head, or we're frustrated and angry that we're just going to hit somebody or kill somebody.
Yeah.
It allows you to manage it. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that anger goes away. It means that you just manage it better.
First of all, you learn to be aware, and then to manage. Self-awareness, self-management. And it's of benefit to everybody. I don't know of anybody who couldn't benefit. And if only we could get this, you know, if this could be daily, taught in schools, daily, globally, We would. I feel we wouldn't have all the or half of the social issues we have globally, or the addictions, or the violence. The Do you agree?
You know, absolutely, yeah, and I think it goes. We're sort of going into another realm of it, of learning about mindfulness in where we're going with this, and I think um, when you become aware of yourself, and you
Mm,
become aware of your triggers and what sets you off, and when you become aware of all the reactions, and when you have this understanding of that, really, with all of that information, generally the person who's affected the worst is you. It's never
okay.
another person in that moment. So, you know, let's say two people fighting in the street
Right.
and one person wins the fight.
Mm-hmm.
The person who won the fight, it's going to affect him probably worse than the person who he actually just beat up, because he could end up getting caught with the guards, go to prison, get fined, or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
psychological impact on all of us. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm,
it you know, it is down to how we're reacting to stuff and situations. And then it creates this bamboozlement of, like, I know that I've said this to you before, I don't even know if it's a word, but we go into catastrophic thoughts, do you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
catastrophize everything.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it is actually based on where we are right now, in
Yeah.
this moment, do you know?
Mm.
Um, it's always based about something that happened before, or something that could happen in the future, or it's a oh my God stuff, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 And it spirals very, very quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah.
what one could save themselves a lot of trouble, responding rather than learning to respond rather than to react.
Yeah, yeah,
Save
yeah.
themselves a lot of, so because I'm thinking now, next question would be, why would one bother? Like, what's the big deal? Well, you can save yourself a lot of distress,
Yeah,
um, potential harm. Um, it affects you, as you said,
yeah,
deeply, and your well-being and your health. And we know that stress, anger has a physical effect
yeah,
on the body. We can feel it. You don't need science as such to tell you. Um, and how you respond, you react, affects people around you, and so forth. So that is why you would learn, in
yeah.
my opinion.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know, don't don't get me wrong. Obviously,
Mm,
um, when we're in that instant reaction mode, yes, it affects us. It does affect other people too. It affects other
mhm,
people around us. And
mhm.
and the other thing is then they're triggered
Yeah.
and they're responding to to the way we're responding. Do you know what I mean? So it's
Mm.
like a domino effect. Do you know?
Totally.
Like
Mm.
I've worked with a lady and quite recently, and she sort of came in and she sort of, I'd only had one or two sessions with her, and she came in and she went, "You're not going to believe the change in my house." And I thought she was after doing the house up or something. Do you know what
Okay.
I mean? Or she's going to tell me about paint in the kitchen. Um, and I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Well, because I've stopped reacting all the time, there's a much more sense of calmness in the house."
Mm.
Now, it wasn't like that they were all just going around chilled out, but there was less reactive mode because she
Yeah.
wasn't reacting. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm.
But it wasn't that she was avoiding anything either. She was able to address situations just with that thinking before reacting,
Just that
just
stop,
that
that
being aware,
pause.
just being
Mm.
aware. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm. So it has a profound effect.
And those around you as well.
Totally. And it's making like little changes. Like, it doesn't cost anything. You can just take that moment to pause and observe the difference for yourself, right?
Yeah, but I would say, like, it's as easy as that, but it's as
But
hard as that.
I
Do you
know.
know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's not like you have this inner wisdom and in a after a couple of half-hour meditations, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, the light bulb goes off. Do you know what I mean? I'm
No.
fixed. You know what I mean? It isn't about being fixed. It's about just understanding self, and it's about continually practicing it. And you said it earlier on. It's not something that you can do today and I'll do in 2 days' time. You have to do it daily, because
Yeah.
the more you do it, the easier everything becomes. You know,
Mm.
and people come to me and they say, I might say to them, "What's your goal, or what's your aim, or what would you like to achieve?" And they might say, "I want to be happy." And I'm going, yeah, that sounds good. I'm not going to do that with you. And they're looking at me going, what do you mean? That's why I'm here. And I said, well, I don't want to make you happy. I just want to make you be okay. And the more you're okay, the happier you'll become.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it
Oh,
just breaks down that, what is happiness? Do you know what I mean? And
sure.
you're going to make me happy. I'm not going to make nobody happy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
You're going to do it yourself, and you have to put the work in, you have to put the practice in, you know?
That very, very well said, James. Yeah. And with mindfulness, it can be the formal practices, but equally a huge part is the informal. It's in everything you do every day. So
And I
it
think
doesn't have to be an extra thing you have to sit down necessarily and do, because people are overwhelmed with too much to do. But it's what you do anyway. Do it with awareness, and come to our upcoming 6-week online course, and we will help you. There you go. And which James and I will have online in hopefully next month. Do it in your own time. Are you looking down at that book?
No, because I just wanted to make a point because everybody would say, I haven't got time.
Exactly.
How much time do you spend on this?
There you go.
Do you know? This is taking us over. Do you know? And I know that, look, technology is great, has a part to play. Facebook is fun. It's great for connecting with people across the world and all that type of stuff. So it's definitely got loads of positive benefits. But when you're sitting there aimlessly scrolling, that's when you could actually be just taking a minute, 60 seconds to just be a bit more mindful, just do a practice, you know?
Yeah.
And like you said, it's this formal and informal. And the formal is where you're dedicating a special amount of time in a certain area, whatever it is, to formally just switch off and do whatever the meditation is. But it's the informal practices that you use each and every day, which allow you to understand how you react and how you can react.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because that's it. Because anybody can go, say, on a retreat or to a monastery, or sit in their room quietly and have that peace and think, oh yeah, this is bliss, because there's no external aggressors.
Absolutely.
But it's actually, you learn the most when you're in your daily life and you're getting the opportunity to use it and see that it works. So that I find that actually, well, I find both very beneficial, but there you go, using it in everything you do. And sometimes we forget, but we know what to come back to.
And people won't even know you're doing it once you know the different techniques. Do you know what I mean? It's not that you look like a spacer. Do you know what I mean?
I know. We're all normal people, but we've learned great tools that have, enhanced your well-being, my well-being, and we want to share it.
Yeah. We're all human.
Yeah. So we'll have our retreats, our workshops, and we'll have our 6-week online course for normal, busy people, right? And and we really would love to help people. So hopefully they will join us on that.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
At least now they'll have got to meet you properly. And is there anything else you'd like to share, James?
No, I suppose just to reiterate what you said which is, link up with us, ask us questions, send us messages, whatever it is you want. We're open to answering anything and helping whatever way we can. If I was to give you one takeaway from the whole thing, try it out. Just try it.
Yeah, that's it. And like you had just said there, exactly, try it. Also, people are also very individual, tailor-made courses as possible, or sessions to suit a person's needs. Our main thing is to help who's out there in whatever way they need and want.
Absolutely,
yeah. Because there's a lady 2 days ago told me, breathing doesn't work for her. She doesn't want to go there. But we talked about other ways and found different ways, and she was like, okay, because like you said, all she hears is breathing. But also her way of breathing, she was never taught properly, and the effects, etc. So it's about working through also individually or in a group what works for people. All we want to do is help, right?
That's it.
And connect.
I suppose pass on the information and our learnings and
Pass
our
on.
experience,
Yeah.
because that's what's helped us. Do you know what I mean?
That's it.
That's
Yeah.
what helped us.
Yeah.
And again, I suppose making people understand that, listen, I'm as human and you're as human as they are. We have daily challenges. We've got kids, we've got bills, we've
Yeah.
got
Oh
whatever.
gosh.
Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Got a tax reminder in the post today for
Yeah.
my car. So we have
Yeah.
all that stuff going on. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Mm.
And yeah, we've busy lives because of the different stuff that we do, but we still make time for this
Well,
because we know it
oh
helps.
gosh, yeah. I've been through a lot personally,
Yeah,
professionally, personally, my whole life, and it keeps coming, and it will keep coming.
yeah,
And so, without mindfulness, I would not be the person that I can say inner happy, and that's why I called it that, because mindfulness has given me that, and I have that no matter what goes on around.
yeah,
I can be upset, I can be affected, but I know what to do, and I know that it'll come and it'll go, and I know how to handle it.
yeah,
Whereas before mindfulness, I didn't. So as you say, it's finding, everyone finds their way, and it's learning that it is for everybody, and it can help everybody.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Great. So thank you, James.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. It's always lovely to chat to you. I
Yeah.
think everybody can see now why you're my partner.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so great to chat.
great to chat. And I'll talk to you again very soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks.